Today we're going to be taking a look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and the biggest reasons why you must watch this movie. I'm not going to go into the story too much because I went into this pretty blind, but if you watch the holiday special, you know that the Guardians have now established a base on Nowhere, but are struggling with their own personal issues. Mainly Peter Quill, who has become an alcoholic after losing Gamora, and also Rocket, who is dealing with his own personal struggles. And it's on Nowhere where they are attacked by Adam Warlock, who was sent by Rocket's creator, the High Evolutionary, to capture and return Rocket to him. So the Guardians have to go on an adventure to protect Rocket and stop the High Evolutionary's grand plans for the universe. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is unlike any of the Guardians movies that we've seen, especially coming off of Guardians 2, which I wasn't crazy about because I just thought it went too far in the comedic direction. And while this film of course does have great humor in it, the tone this time around is just so much more dark and somber and honestly depressing. And I'm sitting here kind of in shock that I just came out of a Guardians movie and the things that I'm thinking about and want to talk about here aren't like the funny bits or the funny jokes within it. It's how this movie made me feel because this film is so goddamn emotional. Another interesting change was the story structure, where essentially we are cutting between two narratives throughout the film. The main narrative that takes place in the present day feels like your typical Guardians movie, where you have great banter between the characters, like I always get a kick out of Drax and Mantis's relationship. You have the fun adventures, like a whole heist set piece that feels very similar to the first Guardians movie. But the other main narrative focuses entirely on Rocket's backstory with the High Evolutionary, who I thought made a really strong villain in the film because Chakotay Iwuji just gives an amazing performance. And this whole storyline is unlike anything we've ever seen from the Guardians. You will not find humor here, you will just find nothing but devastation. I thought Gunn did an excellent job balancing both of these two stories, making them equally compelling. The movie looks incredible, like the production design, the visual effects, none of it looks dull, it's all eye-catching, and the action here is way better than anything that the Guardians movies have ever done. There's a scene that's like a one-take action scene that is, it might be one of the best action scenes in the entire MCU. Like right up there with anything you'll see in like Winter Soldier or Civil War. And James Gunn, this dude just made me feel every single possible emotion. I laughed, I got chills from the very exciting fan service moments, and I got choked up so many times in this movie. Like I know the marketing of this film is calling it the best Marvel movie since Endgame, and I don't know about that, but it might be the most emotional, which is saying a lot because Wakanda Forever, 20 seconds into that movie, just ruined me. And then No Way Home just hit me with nostalgic body blows for about 2.5 hours. But we all know from the marketing and the way the cast and Gunn have talked about this film that this is going to be the last Guardians movie. And for it being the last movie, it did an incredible job making sure that every single character got a moment. Rocket is obviously the standout here. This is his movie. And the fan service moment that they give Rocket, it was good. Chris Pratt as Star-Lord is the best he's been, probably the most charismatic he's been also since the first Guardians movie. Karen Gillan and Palm Clementieff really shine as well. At least for me personally, I've come around on Nebula and Mantis a lot, but it wasn't in a Guardians movie. It was Nebula in Endgame or Mantis in the holiday special. So it was cool finally seeing them shine in a Guardians film. Zoe Saldana plays a completely different Gamora than we've ever seen. She's a lot more angry and vicious and violent. Dave Bautista as Drax, of course, brought so much comedy to the role, but I loved how the film wrapped up his character and gave him such a perfect resolution to the arc that he has been on since the very first film. Even new characters like Will Poulter, who plays Adam Warlock, I thought were really good. It's interesting because, the first time that I saw Will Poulter as Adam Warlock, I'm like, what? But then you see who Adam Warlock is in this film and how he's kind of an awkward mama's boy and all those qualities that Will Poulter did amazingly and We're the Millers, he brings to this role, and it's just perfect. And the ending is very bittersweet because all of these character arcs and storylines that we have been invested in since 2014 all wrap up. And I freaking hate saying this, but they all wrap up in a very satisfying way that I actually don't need to see these characters ever again. I mean, don't get me wrong, if there are more Guardians movies with these characters, I will be so excited. But I really think that James Gunn just did an amazing job wrapping this trilogy up in about the most perfect way possible. But those are my biggest reasons for why you have to go see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. If you happen to see it, let me know in the comments what you thought of it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.